I'm going to give it a 3, Skip, because here's the thing. We're looking at a big game because we've seen big games from this kid. 525, 446, 432. So we've seen big games. Mm-hmm. Do I believe he'll have one of those games? No. Because, Skip, you look at him in the playoffs, he scored 26 points against Vegas. He had 244 and 2 touchdowns. In Tennessee, he had 19 points. He had 348, 0 touchdowns and interception. Against Kansas City, he scored 27 points, 252 touchdowns and interception. So he hadn't had one of these off-the-chart type games like what we've seen Matthew Stafford have. Mm-hmm. Skip, Patrick Mahomes has thrown 12 touchdowns in 3 games. He's out of the playoffs. Next closest, I think, is Matthew Stafford has 8. So we've seen guys have big games, but that doesn't mean he needs a big game in order for them to win. Okay. Because what we've seen, they're in the Super Bowl, and he hasn't had one of those games, Skip, that we know he can have. Yep. A 525 against Baltimore, a 440-something against Baltimore, a 442 against Kansas City. So we know he's capable of having these type games, but I believe the defensive line, because I don't believe you can score 19 points and beat this team. Here's the thing. Kansas City's offense and their defense is vastly different because I think he played Tennessee. Tennessee's defense is outstanding. The offense leaves a lot to be desired. This is I believe, the most complete team when you look at offense, defense, and special teams that they're going to face in the playoffs. But I also believe this might be the best offense that the Rams have faced. The Rams have faced in the playoffs. So for me, Skip, I know you like Tampa, but when you look at Chase, and you look at Higgins, and you look at Boyd, and the way they can run the ball with Mixon and P-Ryan,
I'll buy that.
The offensive line leaves a lot to be desired. Mm-hmm. I think that's going to pose a problem for him, Skip. But I just believe the defensive line is going to dictate a lot in this game, and I don't believe you can win this game getting sacked nine times because that means you get sacked 9 times, even if you don't turn it over, Skip. That means the Rams are going to have excellent field position. And with that offense, they're going to score more than 19 points. So for me, I'm going to give it a 3 that he has a big game. I consider a big game 350, 3 touchdowns, and up. Do I believe he'll have one of those type games? Yep. I do not. Okay. But they still can win because we've seen him not have a big game, and they're in the big game.
That is correct. I'm going to go back to the operative word in this question. How much do you trust him to have a big game?
Right.
And I'm going to go all the way up to a 9 on a scale of 10. And I don't disagree with your point about the offensive line. We're going to get deeper into that later because it's a liability. Yeah. And it was at Tennessee and Nashville, and it didn't matter.
Right.
He overcame that. I'm going to say it again about this kid. He's still a kid. There's something about this kid that I really, really like.
Right.
It's some Brady-esque intangible where he will not lose his poise. He will not come unglued. He will not unravel right before your very eyes. He will not say no mas. He will not be physically defeated by the Rams front where he just finally goes up in smoke and says, I can't do this anymore. And we've seen that happen to a lot of different quarterbacks.
Yes.
In fact, I would say 80% of the quarterbacks that I watch have that, what I call that haywire gene in them. They'll just come apart if under fire.
Well, Skip, I mean, you think about 9 times. There are not very many quarterbacks in the history of the game. Hall of Famers, MVPs, historically transcendent great players that you can sack 9 times and they're able to win the game. Because you can break a lot of them, you hit them that many times.
So they're calling him Joe Burrow, as in ice in his veins, or he's dripping with ice. And I get all that, but it goes way deeper than that.
Yes.
It's something about this kid knows he was born to play this position, and he has supreme confidence in his ability to speed read it, find it, and hit it before you can hit him.
He said his dream was to play wide receiver. Say he don't think he could play wide receiver, but he's okay at quarterback.
He played DB for a while.
Yeah, he's in that.
So he's got a little. I'm not saying he has a lot of athletic ability. We're not talking about Lamar or Michael Vick here.
Or Kyler Murray.
No, or Kyler. But he's got a little bit of athletic ability. I think he was a pretty good basketball player, and you see it occasionally in his escapability. All right, let's look at what's happened. What's his history on the biggest of stages? We'll start out in high school, state championship game. Now, they lost the game, but it was a shootout. It was 56-42. In the state high school Ohio State championship game, he goes 26 of 45 for 446, 6 touchdowns, and 1 pick. All those are records for the state high school championship game.
Right.
Okay. So you can see that he's off to the races.
Right.
And then you know and I know what started happening at LSU. Now, were they loaded? They were absolutely loaded. But remember, it starts with the SEC championship game. I want you to digest these numbers. This is Georgia they're playing, and Georgia was pretty good. They're
Georgia's been good since Kirby got there, especially defensively.
Joe Burrow versus Georgia, 28 of 38, 349, 4 touchdowns, no picks, QBR 97. Against my Oklahoma Sooners. I actually went into that game, I remember sitting on my couch thinking, I think we got a shot here. We had no shot.
Yeah.
It was over in about a minute because Joe Burrow took it over. The final score was 63-28. He goes 29 of 39 for 493, 7 touchdowns and no picks, and ran for a touchdown. QBR of 99. Then Clemson, national championship, 42 of 55 for, I'm sorry, the score is 42-35. He was 31 of 49 for 463, 5 touchdowns, no picks, and ran for a touchdown. So in those 3 games in a row to end his college career, he's got 16 touchdowns to no picks and an average QBR of 98. But I will give you this. In the championship game, Jamar Chase caught 9 for 221 and 2 touchdowns. And somebody named Justin Jefferson, you remember him? Oh, yeah, he's that guy up in Minnesota now. He caught 9 for only 106, but still 106. Clyde Edwards-Helaire caught 5 more for 54. Terrace Marshall, he was second-round pick Carolina. He caught 3 for 41 and a touchdown. And Randy Moss's kid caught 5 for 36 and 2 touchdowns. And he's on the Bengals IR practice squad. So he is a Bengal right now. Okay, so you can see, were they loaded? Yes, they were loaded. At Tennessee, 9 sacks and lived to tell about it. And they won the game because of his late throw to Jamar, right? That was big-time clutch throw.
If Tannehill doesn't play so bad. Skip, without those 3 turnovers, they're not even in the game.
They're not in the game.
Tannehill start the game with a turnover, start the second half with a turnover, and then late in the ball game turnover.
I told you sitting in this chair, once Tennessee secured home field, I said, that's it. Tennessee's going to the Super Bowl. Because Vrabel can flat-out coach it. And they look like a team to me, albeit with the quarterback who can be the big X factor.
Right.
But they just look like a team that could play defense and run it and win 2 home games to the Super Bowl.
He's good. Skip, here's the thing. You can't out-coach your quarterback playing bad.
You can't.
Because you can't hide him.
You can't hide him. Now, they say they're going forward with Ryan Tannehill. Well, good luck with that, because he was a receiver in college. That's all I got to tell you. And I've never liked him. And I didn't like him going into that draft.
Okay.
But the point was, Joe Burrow lived to tell about that game because he made one throw and Tannehill threw it to you one time late. And then at Kansas City, that's miraculous what you pulled off.
Right.
Because you can say, you didn't play that well, but when it was time to play well, you made all the throws and all the runs, all the escapes that you needed to make to win 27-24, right?
Yes.
Okay, so do I trust him on Sunday at SoFi? It's a home game for the Rams, so to speak. It's their home stadium. I do. I'm at a 9. I think he will play as well as he can play.
Right.
I think he will transcend. I think he'll rise above.
Right.
Again, will they be able to protect him? Probably not great for the whole game. Will he escape when he has to? I believe he will. That's why it's only because of him I'm giving them a shot in this game.
Let me ask you, so do I trust him? I trust him, but do you trust him to have a big game? What type of numbers are we thinking? You thinking
300.
Okay.
300 would be a big game. And
not
again,
for him.
Huh?
Not for him.
Well, in this game against that defense, 300.
We saw the man throw for 525.
I know, against Kansas City, which I don't think
against the Ravens. The Ravens.
Yeah.
I know they're beat up, but they're still the Ravens. They still have pride.
They have pride.
And then he followed it up with he threw with the first time, and that's when Wink Martindale he threw for like 440 something, and Wink Martindale said, "Well, we're not going to give him no gold jacket," and then he goes throw for 525 against you. Well, you better get him a gold jacket.
You can argue he cost Wink his job.
Yes,
correct.
And then so we've seen him, and then against Kansas City, Skip, he was 30 or 38 for 442 and 4 touchdowns. He was sensational. So what we know him to have, what we consider a big game for a lot of quarterbacks. 300 game for an average quarterback, and that's okay. But for Joe Burrow, we like, man, we done saw you throw the 3rd most yards, the 4th most yards in NFL history.
Okay, but against the Rams defense in their stadium,
300 might be.
I assume the crowd will be pro-Rams, but you never know.
You never know. You know.
Super Bowl,
I don't know, Skip, but Cincinnati don't really travel like that now. I mean,
but sometimes the Super Bowl is just an amalgamation of people from everywhere. It's corporate people.
That's mainly what it is.
And they just sort of cheer for everything.
Because they're the ones that can afford the seats.
That is correct.
The common fan got priced out of this one.
Right. It doesn't ever get loud enough to disrupt your signal calling. Right?
No, you got 20,000 fans for you. You got 20,000 fans for them. And the other 50 so drunk, they don't even know what's going on.
That is correct. I still say he'll play at a very high level and give his team a chance to win this game. Well, so that's all I trust.
Well, we know he won't be in all the moment because we've seen him in big moments. SEC Championship Game, which is his biggest bigger game. Next to the National Championship Game, Skip, I'm not sure there's a bigger game. The Big Ten, that's no knock on but there's, what the SEC Championship
when they played Georgia in Atlanta.
Or you play Alabama. Yeah. Skip, you remember what he did to Alabama? He went to Alabama and did that.
Torched them. He did. Georgia was ranked 4th before the SEC Championship.
Alabama was ranked number 1.
They were.
And he went down to Alabama and did that.
He did that. He did it to everybody.
Yeah, so I'm not worried about the moment being too big for it. But Aaron Donald and Vaughn and Leonard Floyd and those guys will have a say in this matter.
What if the moment gets a little too big for Matthew Stafford?
No. Old Matty Ice. Got that 2 Matty Ices.
There's only one Matty Ice, and he won the MVP.
Well, they used to be. These Matty Ices used to be neighbors. They used to live next to each other. I don't know if he still have a place in Atlanta, but Matty Ice of Atlanta and Matty Ice of now the Rams, they're neighbors. They're good friends, Skip.
Good for them. Congratulations.
Yeah, he's Matthew, though. Matthew Ice, it doesn't have the same ring to it.
Yeah, he's Matthew Ice.
Matthew Ice. Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.